Okay, friends, I know we've had a few minutes now, so everyone can go ahead and hop on. We'll go ahead and get started because I don't want to run over today, and we've got some good stuff to cover. Thank you so much for joining us here at our weekly webinar with Parsec. We're so excited to have you. This morning for your hosts, you have me, Kim Tumembing, and my amazing partner in crime, Matt Lazar over here. We're very excited this morning to get to hang out with you guys and talk through some great takeaways on AI in K-12 education, really focusing on ways to use it to improve processes and maybe free up some of that time in your everyday life that you'd like to get back. So we'll get started here. So as many of you may know, I am a partner engagement manager here at Parsec. My job is really to just engage with our partners in a way that I deeply understand the things you guys are going through, what you're working on, what your schools might be working towards, the data you're looking for, but also the processes you're trying to put in place. And that is something that's really exciting to me. So hopefully some of what we're talking about today is going to help a few of you who are on here with some of your processes and things that you're trying to do. And then Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Lazar. I'm the product manager over here at Parsec, overseeing the development of the products. So later today, I'll do a quick demo of some new functionality that we released. But as always, please send your feedback over. We're always hungry to hear that so we can make better informed decisions where we want to go next.
Awesome sauce. So friends, today we're going to talk about a couple of things. With AI, there's a certain lean, obviously, for Parsec to collect better data. And we believe that AI can assist you in doing that, especially in your qualitative data. So when you're trying to collect qualitative data, asking better questions equals better data. And say that 5 times fast, all of you. I challenge you. So what we want to do today is talk about how AI can help us create better questions, move through better feedback opportunities, how to reduce the guesswork when we're gathering student and family feedback, and then how some of our Parsec partners are actually using AI for everyday tasks. It has nothing to do with any of our products. It's just some of the things they're doing that have been really helpful that I've heard for their systems and how they're managing things to save them time. So hopefully that will help you as well with saving on time. So first, we want to start with smarter questions and stronger insights. Parsec is all about data. So what we're looking for is good data that we can make decisions off of, right? Because everybody knows that you can ask a super broad question and then you'll get data back because people will tell you things. But now you have data that maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the problem. I had a story one time about one of our partner schools asked a question thinking it was super obvious what they were asking about. And they ended up receiving feedback from students about how the lunch line was too long and pizza was too expensive. And the question was supposed to be helping them understand whether students were feeling safe on campus. And that's when they realized that the question they'd asked could be taken multiple ways and completely misunderstood. So with that, we want to give you a couple of key things to do when you're trying to gather strong data, especially qualitative data, and that is build smarter questions for stronger insights. So this starts with clarity and precision, reduce the noise. You want a well-constructed question that minimizes ambiguity and leads to more accurate responses and measurements. Now, some of you are thinking, Kim, of course we do, but not all of us have a degree in survey and analysis. You don't have to. That's what we're going to show you today with some AI stuff that you can do to make it easier for yourself and for your team members. But the using of AI, I know, is sometimes a little bit third, fourth, fifth nature to us. It's not quite second nature yet. And because of that, we're hesitant to just immediately jump in there and have AI assist us. But we can really use this tool to help our work. So the second part is relevance. You want to enhance actionability, and that is through relevance. Targeted questions generate data that aligns with decision-making processes. It's going to make it clear. My mommy stuff is saying, oh yeah, that was as clear as mud. I don't know if y'all's moms used to say that, but I think of it every time I read through some of the things I've written in my life. And I think Good Lord, that was, yeah, literally as clear as mud. It doesn't give any kind of example or anything to tell the person where we should be headed. So it's a good idea to try to work through and clarify things, and AI can help us with that. We're looking for better framing to support better models. In data science, framing the right question ensures the data collected fits the method and purpose of the analysis. Now, this goes back to the scientific method where we're going to make an observation, ask a specific question, and then solve and collect and research and look for the data that goes with that, which will then help us draw our conclusion. If we're going all the way back to that scientific method that was taught to us in elementary school, we have to think about what is the purpose of these questions we're asking, right? Especially when we're looking for qualitative and when we're digging around in quantitative and we're trying to figure out the information. All of that starts with framing and asking the right specific question. If it's too vague, we could get too much information, and then it looks like the data contradicts itself, but it's not that it did, we just asked too broad of a question. So if we're keeping that in mind, that framing is really important. And then the fourth thing we want to make sure we do is improve engagement and response rates. And the way we do that is through using social science and social science or customer research. And in case you don't already know this, your students and parents are your customers if you're thinking about it from that framework to try to create better questions. You need to think of them this way in social science and research so that you can start to frame questions that fit them. Some of you may have heard from your LASs in the past, don't ask questions of a fifth grader that are framed for a 12th grader. It's really important we keep language and what they've learned in mind when we're trying to frame questions for them, so that they can comprehend and then answer. That comes to parents too. Think about who your target audience is for your parents when you're framing questions so that you can create better questions. And again, we're going to use AI to do this. You guys, that is going to be our theme this whole entire webinar, is relying on that AI and a prompt so that it can do the heavy lift for us. And we don't have to all think through third grade grammar and comprehension level to try to write questions for them. So some things that I'm not going to go through all of this, but I wanted you guys to have the research if you want to do more studying on this. I am not an expert in strategic feedback as a science. I'm just going to let you know that. But what I do know is that in college, I took a couple crash courses on this so that I could begin survey work at that time, working with a nonprofit that I was interning for to try to help them get grants. And if you guys in your school have ever tried to write for a grant, you know a certain part of it, there may be a piece that requires data. And some of that data is going to need to be qualitative to get that money for your grant. And when you're doing that grant writing and you need that qualitative feedback, there is a science behind it. So these are some research surveys you can step into, but all of them outline the 4 points that I just gave you on how to build that feedback opportunity for the data that will support you moving forward in whatever strategy or planning you are working on. So for that, we've given you some kind of things that you can step into and look at. And really, again, remember to apply that scientific method from grade school, observe, question, research, and then draw your conclusions based on the data. But if we're doing that, we need to start the real work. And that's where Matt comes in. So we're going to show you a little bit of what Real can do.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to do a quick, can everyone still see my screen? I think that is yes. So one thing that we're going to type in here is we're just going to create a reel. So say we want to do a reel to evaluate how kids, we'll say maybe a little bit more specific, 8th graders feel safe at school. There's some descriptions and an introduction message that you can also put into the reels always, if in case you want to include in there. We'll set this up to run for like a day. And then once we kind of save all that, we can press next. And you'll be taken into the section where you can add or create your own questions. But it's at this moment we want to make sure we can help all of you to generate the best questions possible before you send it out, per what Kim just expressed. So from the screen, if you just say generate with AI, we're going to give you a quick prompt. We're going to first ask the question of, what are you trying to learn? Because ultimately, every time we, want to go through and get feedback from our audience, there's usually a learning intent. To go back to the scientific method, you're observing. What do you want to observe? What do you want to learn? What's the research of it all? So we could say like, what do we want to learn? We want to learn how safe eighth graders feel at our school. And we can add as much detail as we want. Maybe we want to do something. Oh, look at that. Forgot to put the age. Specifically around after school programs. Who are you saying this to? We could say, did I misspell after another one? Look at this. Look at all this great grammar that's asking me to do. I'm just gonna leave that one there. Who are we sending this to? We could say eighth grade students. Is there any additional information we would like to share? We can leave that blank from there. We can just press generate questions. And from there, boom, it's going to actually generate a bunch of questions that you can ask that's specific to the kind of the content that you actually shared out to people. So like, hey, what do you enjoy most about the after school programs at our school? How do you feel participating, da, da, da? Any areas during school you feel unsafe, if any? So it's going to collect the feedback of like, what programs are you going to? How do you feel about it? And then leveling into like the safety questions. You can always edit each one of these or even remove them if you're like, I don't like any of these. But from there, you'll have all your questions generated specifically for what you're actually trying to look for. And hopefully that's going to speed up time for you to like generate the right questions. You can use it as a tool to collaborate with your fellow peers or even with your AI to kind of make sure everything's going in a way. So this is really designed to help you towards that scientific method to have really great questions ready to go. Any questions that people might have around this functionality?
You guys are always welcome to come on screen, or you can pop them in chat. Either is fine with us.
And this is currently released, so all of you can start using it. No, cool.
No.
Thank you.
Well, if you guys do not have Real, I want to give you a couple other ways to use AI. So something that you really want to look at is how you write your prompts. And what Matt just demoed for you is a great way to write prompts for AI, whether you're using ChatGPT, Claude, any of the AIs that are out there. You want to write a prompt and just tell it who your audience is, what you're trying to achieve. So remember, we talked about that scientific method. You've narrowed it all the way down to this is my specific thing I'm trying to find out about. And when you narrow it down to that specific thing, audience, what you're looking for, and then if there's any other restrictions that you might want it to do. Like I always tell ChatGPT, write this at a sixth grade reading level. And I do that typically for my parents and older audiences as well, just in case I have a broad demographic of parents or community members or students that I'm trying to cover with one set of questions. It makes it so that it's a lot easier for everybody to understand. Depending on what their educational background looked like, we know that, I don't know about you guys, but like even my parents graduated high school and I'm really proud of them. And one of them went on later to get a college degree, but I'm the first one to get a college degree in my family. And so just kind of thinking about and being aware of those things when we're trying to talk to our audiences. Real and our feedback system should be accessible to all of our audiences. And that accessibility means that we build things strategically for them. Again, part of those 4 points earlier today. But really, when you're looking at that, you've got your AI generated questions from your prompt, easy prompt. Who's my audience? What's my subject that I'm trying to cover with them? And then any other extra little restrictions. Look through them and revise. And then ask, would you ask yourself this question? Right? And if you're not sure how to answer that question, I'm going to tell you, don't ask it of your audience. That's just a pro tip for you there. If you would feel comfortable asking that self, then go ahead and choose from the list of questions that AI has generated for you and send it out, whether by Real or if you're someone that is using another platform, use that. Now, it's AI is way like it does way more than just generate questions. There's a lot that it can do for you when it's building things. So I wanted to give you a couple other use cases that we've got from some partners. So AI is great for helping you with that qualitative process. It can help you understand other documents as well. So some of our partners here are using AI to write parent emails, right? Again, knowing who the audience is, it's an easy prompt. And if you're someone that's on this webinar and you want help generating prompts for AI, if that's where your sticky wicket is, let me know. More than happy to help you start writing prompts for AI, because sometimes it can take you a couple of tries. You have to figure out exactly what to tell it so that it builds the thing you're trying to do. So you can get it to write parent emails. You can get it to summarize legal documents. I'm going to tell you right now, analyzing and breaking down ed code. That was my favorite that a partner told me about. They had the ed code and they actually copied it straight into the AI and said, please put this in an 8th grade comprehension level terms so I can understand it. And the AI summarized it. And I was really impressed by the breakdown of what AI came out with. And so that's a great thing you can use. Legal documents, summarizing and breaking it down, understanding and comprehension. You can generate reports from an outline. Several times I have taken data and put it in and said, can you create a report for me to send to my staff? Here is the parameters. I want to include charts and things like that. And here's the data that I have to go into it. So it can generate a report for you with data in it. It can also generate reports from an outline. This was the one a partner just did for me live in a one-on-one session when I was talking to them. And I thought this was the coolest thing. They input an outline with bullet points, just kind of one of those, napkin outlines you do. They had typed it into a document and threw it at AI and said, here's my outline. Can you create a report that I can present to my board? And it spit it out the other end just from that outline. So it was a great use there. And then writing content on multiple reading levels. So, but I've given you some examples. What are some examples of ways you guys are using AI in your everyday? Just some great thought sharing here. So I'd love to hear what you're doing. And there's only 12 of you. So if you don't put it in chat for me or respond on video, I'm going to start calling people out. Oh, fan, that's a good one. Okay, now we're going to meet and talk about that because I want to know how you're summarizing your WASC documents using AI. Who else? What are you guys using it for? All right. And now I didn't even think about WASC. LCAP narratives. That's a great one too. Oh, Heather, letters of recommendation for students. I have questions. Do you put like an outline in of what the student has achieved?
Yes, so you can, yeah, feed it as many details as possible to make it as personalized as possible. But yeah, like listing the achievements and characteristics of the student and even like personal experiences with them.
That's fabulous. I never even thought about that. I'm stealing it. Yes, Shoni and Tanya. Yes, policies. That's a big one, right? Those can take so long to write or create templates for. Anybody else got a cool one they're doing? I'm loving the brain share here, friends. Thank you.
I'm just a, school trustee, so I'm not actually working with Parsec, but I know in the past people that have worked for me told me that they can use AI to generate um, r- personnel reviews or personnel updates.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. I've never thought of that one. Yeah. What's nice about AI is that we can, a simple prompt for us that maybe we can use several times can actually just really remove a lot of the labor process. And I think if we just keep those core action, like those core things in mind about being specific and really taking the time to think about who our audience is, it takes a lot of that stress of these things that might, they seem really big. They can also be really simple. And it's kind of the tension between the two that adds so much stress to our workday. But when we can alleviate some of that stress by having AI do the heavy lifting part, I don't know about you guys, but I know that it makes my job so much easier when I know this is my audience. I have them in my head and my AI is already trained. He knows things about me and knows that if I tell him this is the audience, they can just keep writing it again. So my caveat to this, friends, in your AI world is going to be remember that many of the open AIs are learning AIs that take information and keep it and can and will share it with other things. So one of the things I will tell you about our AI is that it's nice because it's internal, it's not sharing external things. So your students' information isn't going out into the world. So do not use ChatGPT to enter student information or anything like that into it because it goes out into the world and we definitely don't want to have any violators of PII out there or anything. So, Matt, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. Well, friends, we have our Q&A time. So if you have anything you'd like to ask or any questions about the new feature for Real or other cool ways you can use AI, or if there's any, again, if you want prompts, this is the time to ask. I'd be more than happy to help you.
I do have a question about writing AI tools in general. I am a fossil, and even though I have an engineering background, I just asked my first GPT question this morning because I was getting frustrated with my laptop. Um, my my skill as a manager, I always thought was to just craft that perfect email or report or something, and I haven't used any AI to craft new reports. What do you say to somebody whose kind of identity is buried in their writing and they're not sure about, how good it's, if they're going to be made obsolete if they use stuff to write for them?
Yeah. Do you have an answer? Otherwise, I will.
You can go first and then I'll chime in my thoughts.
So what I'm going to tell you is that I actually have a communications degree in writing and an English degree.
Mm-hmm. I keep my thesaurus all the time.
I definitely have a grammar book that travels with me because
Mm-hmm.
I just want, yeah, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to my writing. And I was very hesitant to start with AI. I'm just going to be honest with you. I hated the idea of something taking over my writing and maybe doing it better than me. And here's what I will tell you, or anybody else that asks. AI is not replacing me. It doesn't have a heart and a soul. And in fact, it has told me that on many occasions because I tried to profess my love to just give it a little bit of a test. And it refused my advances. So whilst it can craft things nicely and orderly and create and put things well together, there is still something to be said about the voice and the tone of text that comes from a human being. And so often what I will use for my AI is creating the base. And then from there, once I have kind of a molded semi-soft clay, I can then take my own hands and put my fingerprints all over it and create it into something that I'm actually proud to send out. So often when I spend a lot of time doing it myself, sure, there's that satisfaction, but I've spent a lot of time doing it. And there are other things I can use my time for. I have nieces and nephews that I like to visit and play around with. And so AI can save me the time creating the base mold that I can then put my fingerprints all over. And that still gives me the ability to craft and know and correct. And so it's not going to replace me or take over anything. My degrees are not superfluous. They mean something. And all I'm doing is maximizing the use of a tool that gives me the ability to give my time back to others.
Yeah, and actually, as you mentioned that, it triggers something because you had said policy, and I'm on our school board's policy committee. And one thing I could have used AI for, and when I was working, I was a Navy scientist, was writing contracts.
Oh, yeah.
So that you don't, that you've got all of the elements of your statement of work or whatever in it, and you don't forget something. And I'm sure that, I mean, I know I've been with our school board for 3 years. I'm sure that there are contracts that they have to write too. So that might be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would just echo that. I think AI is a really great tool to do like a first draft. You know, like I'm thinking about doing something, and for the most part, I usually kind of go in with an idea of where I want to go with something, whatever that could be. That could maybe draft an email or something else. And so it could just generate a quick draft, and then from there I'll go and edit or tweak it, or sometimes just go, no, that's not what I'm looking for, and I'll just kind of bootstrap it myself. But I think it's really great for that. Just to kind of save time, especially if I'm, in between meetings, I got to generate something really quick, something just in that passing 5 minutes to just get me going. So when I have a moment to myself again, I feel that's something I can work off of.
Great question. Thank you so much for asking it. Anybody else has any questions? I'm learning to do this 10 minutes, this 10 seconds of awkward silence thing, guys. And in case you're wondering, I'm not very good at it. I will say we appreciate your feedback here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We would love to have your feedback. So the QR code is on the screen. The link is inside the chat if you want it. We're here all the time. We're raising awareness for student voices. That is what Real is all about, what you saw demoed today. If you're interested in learning more about Real and why it's different from any other survey system you may have ever used, we would be more than happy to talk to you about it. Thank you for participating and engaging, and we just hope you have a wonderful day. We're going to get you out of here right on time, but we'll stay on in case anyone has any more questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.